Hello everyone, I'm Akhil Kanaskar, and today in this video I will be talking about what Docker is and will show you an example how you can use the Docker technology to run your web application. Now, what Docker is basically? So it's a OS virtualization technology. Like other virtualization technologies you might have heard, like VMware and VirtualBox. So VMware and VirtualBox provides the ability to run different operating systems on a single physical hardware. So every time you create a new virtual machine, you spin up the complete operating system. So this is where the drawback of this technology is. So Docker comes in, this is where Docker comes into picture. So with Docker, you can run multiple Linux operating systems on a single host, and you can run your application isolated and encapsulated. So this technology is useful both for developers and the sysadmins. So let's quickly move on to an example. So this is an example of how a Docker file looks like. So let's to create an image, first you have to have a Docker file in which you put in your commands how you want to build that image. So these commands are put into a Docker file. Once you have the Docker file, then you can build the image, and once you have the image, then you can, using that image, you can spin up a container. So let's go through the commands in this example. So the first from tells us what is the base image I want to use to build my image. So I'm using a CentOS and I'm using a CentOS 6 tag. The maintainer field tells us who's the maintainer of this Docker file. Then I'm running some commands, what I want to do with my Docker file. So this is for putting my HTTP proxy, username, password, and what proxy to use to connect to the internet. Then I'm installing, then I'm with the run Nginx command, I'm saying that okay, I want to install Nginx. This is the repo configuration that I would be, that's what I want to use. Then the run, so these commands tell us okay, using yum I want to install Nginx, system config, service utility, and OpenSSH server. The next is this is the hack I have done for when I create a container, I can be able to SSH into the container. Then with the copy, I'm from my while building the Docker file, I'm telling it okay, pick the script.sh in the current folder and copy it into the /hop directory of my container of the image that I want to build. Then I'm using with the chmod command, I'm modifying the permissions of the files, and with expose command I'm saying okay, when I run the container, I want my port 22 and 80 to be accessible from my host. And lastly, the cmd command will run whatever command I want to run it when the container starts up. So if I've since I've already built this image, I won't be doing it, but in case if you want to build the image, you can just do docker build, then with the -t tag I can say whatever tag I want to name of the image I want to give. So this is docker demo, and I will say okay, I want to give this as a version 15, and then a dot. So dot resembles that okay, the doc, you need to find the Docker file in the current directory. So when I run this command, it will start building your Docker file, and if it's successful, then you will get an image. Okay. So since I have already built this Docker file, I have the images, so if I want to see the images, I can run a command docker images, and I should see what all images I have. So here you can see what's the repository. You can have the repository name, you can mention, then your whatever the image name you want to give, and the tag name. So for this demo I'll be using one of the images that I already have. So to run that, run the container, I'll run this command, run -d. So here with the -d flag, I'm saying that okay, I want to run this in the daemon mode. With -p option, I'm saying the port 80 of the container which is going to launch, I want to map it with the port number 7992 of the host, and docker slash demo is the repository and the image name that I want to run. So now you can see it has returned a big string, which is basically the container ID. So if I want to see what all containers are running on my local, I can just run a command docker ps -a, and it will show me the list of containers that are currently running. So in this information you can see what is the container ID name it has given, then from what image it's using to run the container, then the command it's running inside the container, then when did this container start, its status, and in the ports you can see that port 22 and 80 are mapped. So 7992 is on my on the host, which is pointed to the 80 port of the container. So now if I should see my app. If I just access it from the web browser, so there it is. So this was an example how you can run the containers and you can segregate your applications. So suppose I want to create another container, but I want to mount my my engines directory on my host. So I can do -d with the -b flag. I will say okay, mount this directory on my host with the directory on the container. Okay, I need to change the port number because already I have. Okay, no, I can leave it because my the first was running on 7992. Okay, so now if I run my container again, oops, sorry, I used the hyphen tag. So now if again I want to check the container, so now it's showing okay, now it's showing three containers that it has launched, but as you can see in the status for this container, it's showing that it's exited. Now again if I go to my web browser and I say again I can see that. So with Docker I can have different applications running on the same host. So and all these applications are isolated and different. So now since I've mounted my host directory opt html, to the container. Now if I suppose if I do any changes in the index.html, just right click and I refresh the page, I should see the change. So as you can see, what I did was I mounted a volume on my local host to the containers particular directory, and if I do any changes in that, my all those changes are reflected on the container. So this is just an example, but you can do much more with Docker. uh, and since I work as a CM, so there are many other things we are working on how to use Docker for inner application. So with um, in Bamboo 5.7 they have already provided the support for how you can run multiple Bamboo agents. You can run multiple Bamboo agents on a single host. So this since in Bamboo, if you know about Bamboo, whenever a new plan is triggered it consumes one agent. So if suppose I have a host which has a very good configuration like a 16 GB memory, a good amount of hard disk space, but since my plan runs only one plan can run on one agent, it consumes it consumes that agent. So no other application, no other plan can run on the same host until it finishes. So what I can do is I can run 3-4 agents on a same host, and with that I can have 4 plans running at a time. So like this you get you can use Docker in your company how you want to have it. So it's good for development as well as for sysadmins. Thank you all for this video.